Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today's second video. We've already done the weekend forecast. It can be a very interesting week's weather ahead with risk of thunderstorms after a heat wave in the coming weeks. So you've been waiting, a bit of heat, a bit of thunder. This is going to be quite an interesting week to come. And do check out weekend forecast if you would like to do that. You can find the video just by scrolling down the homepage a bit. It's underneath the link ads and watch that on the homepage. There's also the written version. You can get to that via the button at the top of the chart. This is the JMA, Japanese Meteorological Agency, 3-monthly update. And it's going to be taking us from next month, August, through to October. So we're going into the autumn with this longer range look ahead from the JMA. Talking of longer range look aheads, tomorrow we'll have the CFS 6 months look ahead. That one goes through to the start of next year, but it is just for thumb. When you go that far ahead, it really is in the realm of speculation, and the charts are there, so we have a look at them, but that's definitely not to be taken seriously. This one has a little bit of merit, particularly the earlier part of the update. Of course, when you get through to September, particularly October, that's a very long way off in its own terms. Anyway, we'll see what the JMA is showing for the next 3 months in a moment. But before I get on with that, if I can just mention the ads first of all. So I've already spoke about the link ads. You can find links to articles on all pages at Gazweb. Have a browse widgets and click through the links. You'll be able to pay or help to pay for our website. Thanks very much for doing that. And just to say about the charity fundraiser that we are running throughout July. So I'm on our Just Giving page right now. This is it. This is the Just Giving page for GazWeatherVids.com. We're raising money for the Warwickshire and Northamptonshire Air Ambulance, and we have raised so far, been running this since the start of July, we've raised so far £671.17. So a huge thank you to all of you for your very, very kind donations. It really is amazing to raise this amount of money in such a short space of time for what is a very worthy cause. So a big thank you to everybody that's donated. We've had 41 donations so far. Still got plenty of time to donate. We'd like to see this go up to 700 and maybe reach our target, which currently is £750. We'd like to see that happen over weekend. Probably too much to expect that to happen over weekend. It would be nice if we could reach our target. Can you believe it costs £1,700 to do one call out with the air ambulance to save one person's life? That's how much it costs, but you can't put a value on a person's life, of course. But everything has to be paid with the air ambulance via donations. They are a charity. They don't get money from the government or the National Health Service. So everything from the helicopter right way down to say smallest plasters, things like that, cost money. Has to come from donations. It doesn't come from a general pot of NHS money. So if you would like to donate to this, then you can do it two ways. It's our Just Giving page. I'll leave the link to that at the description box at YouTube, and there's also links across Gazweathers. Alternatively, you can text your donation, and to do that, you just put our code, which is GWVS77, and the amount you'd like to donate. It could be anything from £1 upwards, and you just text that to 770, and it'll be taken, if you pay as you go, it'll be taken off your outstanding balance. Alternatively, you pay via a bill, it'll go on to your next bill cycle. Don't forget to get permission from the bill payer, of course. So a huge thank you for donating to this. It means a great deal to myself and my family, and we've kept completely free of charge at Gazweathers. We've never charged for our updates. As far as I'm concerned, we never will charge for our updates. We earn our revenue from advertising. But if you appreciate what we do at Gazweathers, if you appreciate the videos and written posts and everything else that we do, just ask that you make a little bit of a contribution to this charity. And thanks very much for doing that. Right, let's get on with the update. We're going to start off with the 500 millibar heights for the next 3 months from the northern hemisphere down, first of all. So this is the North Pole just here. Mid-latitudes, of course, running around here. If you watch the JMA Friday updates, you'll know all of this, but I have to assume people are probably watching this for the very first time. And the British Isles on this chart is just there. Now, 500 millibar heights, the brighter colours, yellow, orange, red, that extrapolates high pressure, blue extrapolates to low pressure. So this is the anomaly, 500 millibar height anomaly for August, first of all. What we see is a quite Atlantic-driven month. We've got a ridge down to the west-southwest burst, trough of low pressure around Greenland and Iceland. Jet streams running from maybe going a little bit to the north, something a bit like that. So it is quite an Atlantic-driven month, but that ridge is fairly close to us. I think particularly for the south, you would probably expect quite a bit of dry and warmish weather. For the north, it would always be more unsettled close to the jet stream. But overall, I wouldn't have thought that's too bad a month, really, for the last month of the summer. It's very much in vein with how this summer has been so far, although we have got a bit of a heat wave and some thunderstorms coming up in the next few days. That is really the exception to the rule with this summer. Overall, it's just been rather a quiet, cloudy, westerly type summer, been quite a windy summer, and that sort of condition continues into August if we take the JMA seriously. Now, as we go on into September, we do see quite a significant change in the pattern for September. What it's trying to do then is placing an area of above average heights, which of course is high pressure, over Scandinavia and extending it down into Central Europe. And then we've got low pressure in the Atlantic. That looks a bit of a battleground scenario, but I think the jet stream is running into the country rather like that, and then probably doing something a bit like that. So although you will probably look at that and think it's mainly a settled month for high pressure close to us, actually that could be rather unsettled, and particularly I would think for the south, where that jet stream is running for. It's rather an unusual month, but I think the jet stream is coming in across the south, and then it's probably doing something a bit like that, and that could well be steering low pressure from the Atlantic into southern parts on that sort of a track. So whilst that would, you probably look at that and think a lot of dry weather is possible, I suspect that's a little bit more unsettled, a little bit wetter than you might think just by looking at that chart. We will have a look at the temperature precipitation in a second. That's how September's shaping up, and then we go through to October, because this is 3 months away now, so a little bit in the realm of just for fun. But for October, we find the trough strengthening across Greenland and Iceland, as you would expect, of course, at this time of year. We've got a ridge down to the south of us, and that just looks very Atlantic driven, really. I think the jet stream is coming through the country like that. And again, I would suspect that is rather an unsettlement, particularly for the north and west. It could be quite a wet, windy, possibly even stormy month for northern Scotland. Southern parts closer to this ridge, probably getting driest of the weather. But overall, that does look quite Atlantic-driven sort of October. So maybe some gales, wet, windy type conditions in October, and especially so for the north. Let's see how the temperatures are shaping up then, and precipitation also. We'll come back to August, first of all, look at the tropical and mid-latitude view. So we cut off the northern hemisphere with this chart. The northern hemisphere is up here somewhere. This is the northern hemisphere. I should say the pole is up there. The North Pole is up there. This is the northern hemisphere just here. That's the North Pole up there. And then down here we've got the South Pole, of course. That's cut off from the chart as well. And then this is the southern hemisphere down there. I've got that completely wrong, haven't I? So let's have another go. We've got the North Pole up here, cut off the chart. The South Pole is down here, again, cut off the chart. Southern hemisphere is just there, and northern hemisphere is just there. And then in the middle, of course, it's the tropics. Right, I think they've got that right this time. The British Isles is just here in the very far top right-hand corner of the chart as you are looking at it. So for August, just a quick recap of 500 millibar height anomaly for August. Got the ridge down to the south. Trough is up to the northwest. The jet stream coming through a bit like that. Quite an Atlantic-driven month. Let's see what the temperatures are doing. They're okay, actually. They're nothing to get excited about, but they're a bit above average, on the warmer side of the average for the temperatures in August. For precipitation, as you'd expect, it's wettest in the north and west and driest in the south and the east. So really a continuation, as I was saying, of the pattern that we had so far this summer. It's quite Atlantic driven. It's nothing to get excited about, but temperatures are a little bit on the warmer than average side, and it's driest in the south and east, it's wettest in the north and the west. Just classic, typical UK summer condition. If you have a look at the wind arrows and see what they're doing, and this tells you where the mean wind direction is coming from, you can't make it out all that well, but the black arrows are generally coming from the west-southwest, so it's an Atlantic-driven month, most definitely, and that's the reason it's wettest to the north and the west of the country. Now, September is a little bit of an odd one. Then we've got the trough out to the west of us. We've got ridging up to the east and up to the northeast over there. And I was saying, I think that for September, although the height anomaly doesn't look too bad, it's probably a more unsettled month, actually, than you would think just by looking at the height anomaly. The temperatures are still holding up all right. They're generally above average, on the warmer side of average for September. The precipitation, though, it does tell the tale a little bit. It is above average, a wetter than average month being predicted there for September. Now, what you have to remember for August, and particularly for September, is that there's always a lot of uncertainty with these long-range charts, because this time of year, particularly September, is very much reliant on hurricane activity and exactly where those hurricanes are going. If they go up to the north, if they stall around Greenland, then they can actually inflate high pressure over us, and that's one of the reasons September tends to be quite a dry, warm month, actually, because low pressure tends to stall around Greenland in the form of ex-hurricanes. However, if those ex-hurricanes take a more unusual track and come through the country, then it can be really quite a wet month. So with caveats applied for September, it looks like a fairly warm but quite a wet month on the latest update from the JMA. The wind flow is generally westerly. Again, the black arrows are coming from a westerly direction, telling us it's likely to be an Atlantic-driven pattern that we have in September. And then finally through to October, this looks very Atlantic-driven. Remember, we've got deep trough up to the north and west. We've got ridging down to the south, and the jet streams coming through the country. It's a strong jet stream as well, so particularly for the north and west, it could be a little bit on the stormier side. Temperatures still hold up all right, so for the next 3 months, JMA is seeing quite a warmish period, really. Certainly above average, anyway. The precipitation, that is looking above average also. So that's quite a wet pair of months there for September and October, but the JMA is seeing, because it's Atlantic driven, the temperatures aren't too bad. It's not bringing polar maritime air down across the country, but it does look quite wet, and I would have thought probably quite stormy to the north of the country. Have a look at the wind arrows. Again, they're generally coming from the west through the country with a strengthening jet stream. Of course, westerlies are going to be strong, and especially to the north could be quite stormy perhaps at times. So that's how it's looking from the JMA for the next 3 months. August really just a continuation of the pattern that we've had through the summer. Generally westerly, wettest in the north, driest in the south. Nothing to be concerned about either in terms of being a very cold, wet month or in terms of being a very hot month. Just typical British summer conditions. September looks a bit odd. Temperatures are holding up all right, but it could be wet, and I would have thought, especially for the south, could be quite wet there. And then October looks like a classic sort of westerly October, Atlantic driven. Could be gales by that time as the jet stream is strengthening, and particularly in the north, and above average rainfall as well, so quite a wet, windy, potentially a little bit on the stormy side type October. That's how the next 3 months look. Remember, this is all very highly experimental. It's not to be relied upon at all. If you want to see sort of tried and tested models that have more reliability, check out the weekend forecast. Once you extend out beyond 5 to 7 days, it's always a little bit in the realm of speculation. But that's how the JMA is seeing things for the next 3 months. Tomorrow, we're going even further ahead with CFS 6 months look ahead. That is just for fun. Come back tomorrow for that. That's all for now. Enjoy the rest of Saturday evening. Thanks for watching.